Adam Thomson. It's an absolute pleasure. So first, thank you for driving up from Hamilton and giving up your time to have a chat to us today. We know Adam Thomson as the Highlander, the Otago man, the All Black and Rugby World Cup winner. How do you feel about rugby?
What is that question? I'm passionate about rugby, you know. Absolutely love it. Grew up playing it as a way of connection with friends, as a physical challenge and competition, I guess, at its rawest form. It was, I guess, as a sport, it's a combat sport, right? You're kind of challenging yourself in that area, and just loved it. It was a game that you kind of got to do so many things. You got to carry the ball and jump in the line out and scrum and tackle and kick, all that sort of stuff. So it was never really, it was what I did, it was never my life. It was, to me it was still a sport, an amazing sport, a sport that's given me so much, but yeah, still just a sport, I guess.
Tell us, you just said it's given you so much. What is the game given you?
How long have you got?
An hour?
What does it give me? Yeah, I mean, it's everything. I guess it's given me an identity. So many amazing opportunities, the travel and the friendships, the challenges, the wins, the losses, success, I guess, you know, World Cups and failed seasons, and get a bit emotional about it, thinking back on it. It's been such a journey.
We can have a break if you need.
Yeah.
There's tissues if you want. You don't have to feel embarrassed.
I didn't actually expect it. I guess it's a question that hasn't been asked or answered. So
it's clearly given you a lot, hasn't it? And it might not necessarily be the results and the things on the field, but it's everything that comes with the game.
Yeah, it's the connection. It's a sense of belonging, a family, I guess. Yeah, quite hard to explain unless you've been through it. Yeah.
What is Adam Thomson like away from the jersey, outside of that All Blacks jersey, the Otago jersey, the Cannon Eagles jersey? Who are you away from it?
Another good question. I guess a bit of an introvert, I'd say. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own space and being my own person, and being quite quiet. So sorry, I'm just feels like I'm dealing with a bit here.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Do you, honestly, we can have a little break if you need.
Yeah, maybe just
just have a drink.
Yeah.
You just take a moment, take some time.
I didn't know we were going to be going delving this deep today.
No stress and pressure. Sorry, I'm not meaning to push buttons here.
No.
But you're allowed to feel as much or as little as you want.
I'm feeling all the feels at the moment.
Do you want another tissue, or are you okay?
I'm okay, yeah.
Okay, you just let me know when you're ready to continue, and we will.
Yeah, we'll try.
I suppose this tells me that you care a lot.
Yeah, I do care.
Probably not just about rugby, but just about everything that you do with your life. You've got a lot of feeling and heart.
Yeah, I think I'm quite deliberate about what I put my energy into. Yeah.
What is it nowadays that you put your energy in?
A lot of different things, which is cool, because rugby took so much focus, and I guess it was quite selfish in a way. And I think you need an aspect of that to be a high-level successful athlete. So now I'm quite enjoying exploring different aspects of my life, a little bit of business, a little bit of coaching, what are my hobbies, what's my journey, family, reconnecting, and friends and exploring relationships and myself, as you can see. Yeah.
You're going through your own personal journey at the moment?
Yeah, I think I'm at that stage of life where you do a little bit of reflecting and kind of the path you took and where you're heading and what's important.
Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or shall we?
Yeah, if you want to, I mean, we can try.
What is it when you dig a little bit deeper into where you've been, where you are now, and where you're heading?
Like I mentioned, I think, especially the rugby journey in professional sport, a little bit, there was selfishness in that, and I had to cut off, opportunities, maybe relationships, parts of your life to be that committed to being successful. So it's examining those now, I think, and maybe rebuilding some of that, and I guess challenging myself and finding what makes me tick a little bit more outside of rugby and the sports field.
For those relationships, is that family and those connections?
Yeah, it's family. It's friends. It's like I said, I'm quite introverted and don't have a huge circle, but the ones that are a part of it mean a lot to me.
You've obviously got some really close and beautiful people around you as well.
I do, yeah.
I want to talk about, yes, there's obviously all the success and the perceived highs that, we look on the outside and we think, that man, he's got everything. Is that what it was like when you were a player? Were you just riding this high?
I think so. There's there's an element of young male masculinity, and I wasn't immune to the success and what came with it, and in that moment, like I mentioned, you're just so zeroed in on becoming the best that you can be and winning and going to the top.
Winning and being part of success with the All Blacks and here at home.
Yeah.
How was that for you?
Yeah, that was my dream. That's every little boy's dream. I think of that generation was, when I started playing when I was 5, it was All Blacks, All Blacks, All Blacks. One day I'm going to be an All Black. And even I remember my guidance counsellor at high school when you first go to high school, and what are you going to do with your life? I'll be an All Black. And obviously they've heard that a million times. So yeah, that's a lovely dream, but what's the backup? What are you going to do? I was like, no, there's no need for a backup. Like that was it. And everything in life, even I went down to Dunedin to study. I studied PE and sports science and all that. Was just another avenue to pour into the goal of being a successful rugby player. So it's advice I wouldn't give, but there was no plan B, Yeah.
Christchurch Boys High School guidance counsellor.
There was
probably 1,000 kids that would walk in there and say, I'm going to be the next DC, or I'm going to be the next Adam Thomson.
Yeah.
But you did it.
There's a few out of it though, so he's probably got to take it seriously now.
It didn't always come easy though, did it? There would have been challenges behind the scenes.
Yeah, setbacks for sure.
Yeah. What were some of those setbacks? There's a big one in Japan. Were there others before that, or was that the...
there's the highs and lows of winning and losing and selection and non-selection, but definitely the illness in Japan was the biggest challenge.
Can you take us back? It's probably quite hard to talk about because it was...
It's going to be.
Yeah.
Because your questions already got me welling up. But,
I'm sorry.
It's not you. It's quite good.
It's
I feel like maybe letting go of some stuff is good.
We can go slow.
Yeah.
But we, as Kiwis and rugby fans around the world, watched that. We watched your social media. We saw it on the news.
Yep.
How was that part of your life for you?
At that time in my life, it was easily the biggest challenge that I've been through. It was, I've talked about the rugby player and the young male masculinity or hyper-masculinity, 10-foot tall, bulletproof, nothing can hurt me, I'm invincible, and that was the first moment that, I wasn't, it took a long time to sink in, I think. Doctor told me eventually that this was probably the case, and back in my mind it was, I'll be out of here in a week and back to normal. But
what was it? What did the doctor tell you? Why were you in there in the first place?
I had back pain as part of being a rugby player. I was just getting on and getting worn down, and I thought it was something regular, but one night in Japan, the pain was excruciating and ended up on the floor. My partner Jessie at the time, she knew something was wrong, so a couple of teammates kind of dragged me out of the apartment and got me to an emergency room eventually, and it was a rural hospital. Rural, it's Tokyo, the outskirts of Tokyo, not used to dealing with foreigners, so here's this 6'5", 110 kilo foreigner, actually got bumped away from a few hospitals actually that couldn't deal with it, so eventually got to one where they would see me and got through x-rays and that kind of thing, and the pain was excruciating. I just remember being on the hospital bed and just crying out for pain relief. As a player, you obviously go through a lot of pain and can manage it most of the time, but this has looked like something I'd never experienced before, so really, really scary in that term. But yeah, it was a couple of days of tests and seeing different specialists, kind of been wheeled into different scans and machines and blood tests, and I still couldn't get an answer, which was pretty terrifying at the time, considering the state I was in. Kept coming back. Eventually I got a specialist who said, I have a feeling this might be the case. It's called lumbar-discitis. It's an infection in your lower spine. It's the reason that it doesn't show up on the test is because it takes about a week. So really, really fortunate that I had a specialist that had dealt with it in the past. He said, it's very rare for a young man, especially a sportsman, to have this situation. But yeah, from there it was 2 months in hospital. Couldn't get out of bed for a month. The language barrier, so I really only had Jessie to be there as support. Some teammates and that came in, but there was a lot of dark times, I guess, battling with the pain. The Japanese have a different approach to pain in terms of medication. So the medication wasn't really effective. So yeah, it was antibiotic treatment started, got better one day, then because I was a foreigner, not Japanese, and the size difference or whatnot, the medication wasn't enough, so the infection came back and I crashed, and to kind of go through these waves of slightly getting better and having big downward spirals as well.
What were you thinking when you were lying there in hospital, literally unable to move?
Well, like I said, the disbelief at the start, I didn't believe it. It took a while for that to set in and for me to realise the situation I was in. And then I guess, it progressed, to a pretty bad state where I was losing feeling in my legs and I couldn't really do anything but lie on my back. So the realisation set in that I was in pretty big trouble, I guess, yeah.
If the pain was bad enough, as you mentioned, you're in a country that English is not their first language. You only had your partner to speak to. You're an athlete. You're used to being out there, being active. All of that was taken away from you. How dark did it get?
Yeah, pretty dark. I'm used to being an individual in terms of don't ask for help, whatever the challenge is, I can overcome it. I can solve it on my own. I don't really need anyone's help. So it took a while, but it was the first time in my life where I was vulnerable and I actually had to accept that and ask for someone's help physically. And as a sportsman, that's the hard part. Your body not working the way you want it to work and then the way you're used to it working, and then having to rely on other people. Yeah.
Who was it that helped you out of it? I'm sure it was many people.
Yeah, I mean, Jessie, my partner, she was incredible. She was there day in, day out. And teammates and friends visit, and but it was the little things in the hospital. It was the nurses who didn't speak any English, and they would come in and we would get Google Translate out and a little bit of a broken conversation, or it was over Christmas and New Year, so celebrating in our own way those little milestones. And the first time I could get out of bed and they put a big corset around me, kind of strapped me in, and the first time I stood on my feet, and I guess I adopted my strategies or mentality of a sportsman and applied that to the recovery process. So it was, right, what's the next task? What's the next task? What's the goal? Let's try and achieve that. And it was attempt. It was succeed or fail or reflect or try again. And it wasn't a linear journey, which most injuries just, it's very, very mapped out the recovery process, but this was 2 steps forward, step backwards, 3 steps sideways, and just so unpredictable. And so you'd think you're winning it on top of it, and then kind of crash again. And that was the journey. What was so hard about it was the unknown and the just constant setbacks. But just the little things became so important. The wins, the little wins, celebrating the little wins. Just that they seem so inconsequential to other people, but having a shave or walking on a treadmill for the first time, or I think the first weight I picked up was a 2.5 kilo dumbbell, and it's like off the movies where you're on the walking bars and everything's just stripped away from you and you start from the ground up. So I made a real point of overly celebrating those moments, I think. And that was the key to kind of bringing joy into that dark moment. And it's something that I've taken from that experience now, is that every little success, big or small, I celebrate it, maybe overly in a stupid way, and it's fun, and I enjoy the moment rather than the what's next.
It's important.
Yeah.
Because you know what it was like.
Yeah, and as a rugby player, a younger rugby player, it was never enough. The success was never enough. It was always, what's the next challenge? What's the next win? What's the next team? But that moment made me reflect and actually live in the moment a little bit more.
That's really nice. Stop chasing. Yeah,
stop chasing. You'll never get to where you want to go.
Yeah.
You've actually got to enjoy the journey.
So before that, you were this 10-foot tall, walking on water.
Yeah.
You had everything in the world.
Yeah, confident in my ability.
Yeah.
Slightly arrogant, probably.
Look, I'm not saying that at all. I didn't know you before.
No,
I only know this, Adam.
No, 100%.
It must have changed you so much.
It did, yeah. There was, and now I'm really grateful for it. I guess people are like, well, you're grateful for that massive setback and the 2-year recovery and kind of the lost opportunity that went with at that stage of my career. And I'm like, yeah, I am. Because the lessons I've learned from it are invaluable. It kind of gave me a totally different lens on what's important in life, and you know, who was really important around you, who showed up in those moments. And yeah, my outlook on life now wouldn't be the same if I didn't go through it.
Do you think that Adam must have always been there? The vulnerable Adam, the Adam that wants to stop and live in the moment, and the caring Adam. But there was just so much else going on in your life.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it was always there. It took that moment to draw it out, and yeah, just I guess everything else going so well. You know, if everything's going well and you're succeeding and you're not challenged in those areas, it doesn't create the right environment to draw it out. Yeah.
And that right environment that you're talking about, is that rugby environment? And is that does it need to change? What we look at as this macho, stereotypical, All Blacks don't cry environment, is that still what these rugby environments are like? You're involved in them now.
Yeah.
With Waikato, with the Chiefs, and with club rugby as well. Are they still like that? And do we need to change that culture?
Well, thankfully, I think they are changing. Yep. I'm seeing that now. It's a different generation, with different ideas of success, and I think for me, going through a generation of the hyper-masculine locker room, kind of toe the line and drink your beer and be part of the crew. I mean, that's definitely on its way out, if not out by now. There's much more awareness about, different aspects of the world, I guess, in terms of diversity and identity and what's important. And that's the great thing about this generation now, is that they're shaking things up a bit, which is good.
What do you want to show? What do you want to show these youngsters? What is important?
Look, I mean, myself, I was an individual. I did things my own way, and probably to the detriment of certain things. And you probably ask a few of my old coaches, and they would tell you the same. So I walk my own path, for better or worse. And as a coach, that's my philosophy. I just want to create an environment where they can be comfortable in themselves and walk their own path, learn how they want to learn, take what they want to take and give, and they'll learn what they need to learn along the way, I guess. And I'm not that forthcoming, I live a reasonably private life. So.
Well, that's what I wondered. What is Coach Adam like? Do these players, do these athletes, do they see this incredibly intelligent, insightful, quite deep thinking Adam that we're seeing?
I don't know. I guess it's a question for them, but it's still a journey for me to be vulnerable in that space.
Yeah.
I've learned behaviours of how a coach is supposed to be and how a coach is supposed to act, and I'm trying to unlock that a little bit each day. It's not easy for me to be in the centre of attention or in front of a group or a camera, but I've learned from people that I hold very highly the power of vulnerability, and I've seen it change a room instantly. As soon as you are vulnerable and share your experience, adversity, whatever it may be, it kind of puts everyone else at ease. So, such a powerful tool as a coach. I'm trying to find my way of doing that. I hope I get there one day, because I think it's a great way to build a team very quickly and build a culture and allow people to express themselves and be themselves.
When you look back on the last couple of decades of your life, what comes to mind? What comes up? What would you say to yourself now, Adam?
Reflecting on the last 2 decades, man, it's just. I've been very privileged, so grateful for. I mean, I've already talked about what rugby's given me, but man, it's such an amazing life to. If you really think about it, you're playing a sport, you know. You just get to run out there and have fun and everything that comes with that, and provide entertainment for people, and you see the genuine love for it and the reaction, and that's your job. So I don't take that lightly. That was amazing for me, and I travelled the world and have met incredible people and so many life lessons as well. And now I'm trying to unpack that and apply that to business or to relationships or to coaching. So just very thankful, I think, for the journey I got to live.
I think there's so many great things that you've said, but something that stands out for me is that you're not done yet. Is that this is a journey and you're still working on it, right? Yeah,
it is. And I'm actually really enjoying the challenge.
Yeah.
It's scary as hell because I've gone from the top of the ladder where I was super confident and could back my ability, and it was, you know, I'd done it for so long that it was, you could just wake up and almost do it in your sleep. Now, you're back down the bottom again, which is cool because I'm back at the journey. It's a new challenge, and I've got to take everything I've learned from the playing side, transition that into the coaching and into the business, and the skills I have learnt, and realise the skills that I don't have, and find a way to upskill and push myself and challenges and all that sort of thing. And it's kind of scary but refreshing because it's so new. Yeah.
I know it's clearly been quite scary and difficult going deep inside and talking about yourself in this vulnerable way. But do you have a final message for people? Do you have something that you want people to take away?
I think gratitude's huge. If you spend a lot of your energy looking at what you don't have, you're missing what's right in front of you. Personally, I had a lot, and some people may not, but like I said, the small things, you know, take the small wins, you know, celebrate them, whatever they are, and just try and look at everything as, even if it's tough, even if you're going through physical, mental, any sort of massive challenge, hopefully, as I did, when you get to the other side and you reflect back and you look at it and you can see it as a positive and take away, you know, the growth you get from those situations, and be thankful for them in a weird kind of way.